Good morning. How are you? For the last 48 hours, I have really been thinking a lot about the vision that God has given women of life. A big vision. And thinking about my part in it and what God has called me to. And as I think about this vision, I keep saying to God, God, you do not understand. Did you forget how old I am? Did you forget I'm tired? Did you forget, Lord God, that I work and I work long hours? But God doesn't forget. God knows who He's calling to what. God chooses whom He will to do His will. Let me share with you 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verses 26 to 29. No, I'm going to start at verse 25. Because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. For you see your calling, brethren, that not many wise according to the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to put to shame the things which are mighty, and the base things of the world, and the things which are despised, God has chosen, and the things which are not, to bring to nothing the things that are, that no flesh should glory in His presence. God will and does use whomever He chooses. Think about it. He chose Abraham, who was too old, Timothy, who was too young. He chose Rahab, a prostitute. He chose King Saul, who was from the smallest tribe, the Benjamites, and from the smallest family. He chose David, who was a murderer and an adulterer. He chose Paul, who was a killer of the Christians. And he chose Naomi, a widow. In those days, a widow had nothing, and he chose a widow. God will and does choose whomever He wants. And what I have to accept, and what you have to accept, that if God has chosen you, then He is going to give you everything that you need to fulfill His will. Let no one tell you that you cannot do what God has called you to do. Let no one tell you that you're less than. Let no one tell you that you don't have everything inside of you that God has placed there for you to do what He has called you to do. God knew you before you were formed. God had plans for you before you were born. God knows you, and He chose you for His purposes, for His will, for His way, so that no man will get glory. I don't know how God is going to bring fruition to this vision that He has given women of life, but I know He is. I know that He's going to fulfill my personal vision that He's given me, my calling that He has given me, and He is going to do the same for you. Trust God. He does not make mistakes. Have a very, very blessed day.